Hello, everybody. It's Dana Sullivan, the Stampin' Chick, here for day 11 of the 13 days of Halloween treats. How are you today, my friends? I hope you're doing well. We are almost finished with the 13 days of Halloween treats. I can hardly wait to see how everybody likes all of the different projects. Let me just take a quick second here to adjust my screen a tiny little bit if I can. There we go. Let's see how that works. As always, what I'm seeing on my camera is not exactly the same thing as what you're seeing on the screen. So I'm going to just scoot things over a tiny little bit here, and we'll see how that goes. I think that's fine. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, so today's treat holder is a cute little box. Now, this is actually something that could be used for literally anything. So it's approximately a 1 by 1 by 1 inch by, let's see, 5 inches, 5 1/8 inches box. And this box is actually one that I designed for the size of these little cream savers here. They are one of the treats that I got for our Halloween treats. I love these cream savers, by the way. They're one of my favorite candies. And so I wanted a little box that would show them off, and then I could make a cute little tag to go along with it. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with this, and let's see what we've got here. We're going to be using the Scary Cute bundle again, and I'm using the little die cut black cat and some of the bats and the Boo stamp along with Memento ink. And as you can see by the label, I'm going to be using the Label Me Lovely punch, and I'm using a sponge dauber to make some darker edges on our label. So let me just set that aside right there. And then I'm going to be using some of the Celebrate Everything Designer Series paper. This is from the holiday catalog. It's the the free host designer series paper that you can get. And we used the stars just the other day for the little box. So today I'm going to be using this side, and it's going to be our cute little label here. Okay, so let me set this aside for just a moment. I've got my scrap of this. You'll also need, here we go. You'll also need a piece of basic black cardstock that measures 3 inches by 7 1/8 inch, and we're going to score it at 1 inch all the way around. And then I have a piece of window sheet that measures 6 and I believe it's 6 1/4. I thought I had it wrote down here. 6 1/8 by 2 inches. And this one is going to be scored at 1/2 inch all the way around. And we're going to use the little tab here, the shim on our Simply Scored board. My goodness. All right, so let me set that aside for just a moment. You'll also need your black cat die cut piece. I have a big bat and 2 little tiny bats, and then I have just a scrap piece of basic white cardstock that I'm going to stamp Boo, and will fussy cut, just trim it up to make it a little bit tighter. Okay, and then I'm also going to be making a bow out of our fabulous black and white gingham ribbon. Okay, all right, so let me move this stuff aside and get my Simply Scored board out. Now, as I said, I'm going to be scoring this piece at 1 inch all the way around. Okay, so 1 inch. This is the easiest box in the whole world to make. Very simple. And I will tell you how I came up with my measurements, okay? So I have my orange cream savers here, and I will take my ruler and I would measure it, and I would say, okay, my cream savers are 5 inches long, and they're approximately 7/8 inches tall by approximately 7/8 inches wide. So I'm going to round that up to 1 inch. Okay, so if they're 5 inches long, then I need to add an inch for this side and an inch for this side. So 5, 6, 7 inches. And then the 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch. So 3 inches. Okay, so that's how I got that. For the clear piece, I decided that I didn't want the whole, the clear piece to go all the way down. I just wanted it to go to 1/2 inch. So I took the 1 inch plus a 1/2 inch on either side, and that's how I get this, okay? All right, and then the same thing with the long side. So it's 5 and the 1/2 inches, okay? So 6, all right? Okay, now then, this piece, I'm going to put my shim on, and because we're using window sheet, we really have to give it a good burnish. So I'm going to just sit it down here and then burnish it nice and tight. I'm going to go back and forth a couple of times. And then the same thing on all 3 of the other sides. So we're going to go nice and easy here, and I'm just going back and forth to kind of break up the fibers of the window sheet, because window sheet is really tough. It's a nice thick material, and it makes it kind of hard to get a good crease. So we're just going to go back and forth, and we'll get it on there, okay? And then on this one, same thing on the end. Back and forth, back and forth. Okay, and then one last time at the 1/2 inch, back and forth. I find with the longer pieces, it's easier to do little bits at a time like you see me doing here. I'm back and forth, back and forth, back and forth in little sections, because this keeps me from jumping the track and scoring the wrong line. Okay, so now I've got that, and you probably can't see those lines very well, but you know that they are there. Okay, all right, now let me get this out of the way. Okay, we need to burnish these score lines. Hey, Mama San, how you doing? All right. I don't want to jinx it, but it looks like my video is a bit clearer today, so that's good. Okay, now for this one, like I said, the window sheet is really tough stuff, so you're going to have to really work it in good. And I'm going to go along the edge here and just give it a nice good press. And then you'll see it's the funniest thing. Like, oh, it's so hard to get it to fold. And then it stays folded and you want to open it back up again. Okay, and then the same thing here. So we'll get that end. There we go. All right. And then this side, give it a little pre-press first. There we go. And then work it on down to the end. And basically I'm just trying to keep it from going wonky on me. There we go. And then the last one right here. So you could do this box for anything you want. If you need any size of box, this same method works exactly the same way, okay? So if I were wanting to put this in a box, I would go across the width. Let's see. This is approximately 3¼ inches wide by, let me grab my longer ruler here, 3¼ inches wide by, let's say 8⅛ inches long. And then it's approximately 1¼ inches high. Okay, so now that I know that, I would take the length here, and I've got 8¼ and then I would add, actually I could fit that in an 8-inch box. So an 8-inch box plus 1¼ inches. So 1¼ here and 1¼ here would give us 8, 9¼ 10½. Okay, so I need my length to be 10½. And then for the width, I would need 3½, 4¾ by 6. All right, so 6 by 10, and that would give me the size I need for this. Okay, and then I would score on all 4 sides at 1¼ inch, because that's what we said we want the height to be. All right, and then typically you could make the lid the exact same measurement and just use that shim to score this so that it's just the tiniest little hair wider and longer, and that will give you a perfectly fitting lid. Okay, so that's how I come up with these measurements. For this particular box, it's a very simple square box, really easy to do, and that's how I do it. Okay, all right, now I'm going to take my little tabs here, and I like to always go on the long side because I want a little more structure and support on the long side. So I've taken my tabs, and instead of cutting them this way, which I could do, but I really like to make sure that I'm going to be on the long side because I want some more support there. Okay, you were at the ER all day? Uh-oh. Okay, well, I'll talk to you after this. All right. So I'm going to put my tabs here. And here. And then one more here. And we're going to do the same thing over on our window, on our lid, okay? All right, so there we go. There's that. And then for the lid, just like we did with the base, I'm going to cut up that line and then miter the little tabs here. Okay, so cut up the line and miter the little tabs. Now it's a little bit harder to see. This is a bit trickier because, you know, I'm turning it to make sure it's in the light, and I'm seeing that I got that a little crooked there. So let me straighten that up just a bit. Okay, there we go. All right. And then the last one here. Okay, there we go. Let me clear off my table right quick so I don't get those things everywhere. All right. Now then, for the box and the lid, when I put glue on here, I'm going to add a bit of liquid glue to each of the tabs. And I know I've got a little bit left in here. There we go. I just need coaxed out. I don't want to get too crazy with the glue because you don't want it to ooze out the sides, but you do want it to cover the whole tab so that it stays secure. So let me just go across here. There we go. And then for the lid, I'm also going to do that, and I want to just let it sit for just a second because with the window sheet, it holds the glue liquid form for longer. And I really want it to be nice and tacky before I try to close it over because I don't want it to be slimy and slip and slide around. Otherwise, it'll make scuffs all over the deal, okay? So, all right. Let me put this piece on and this piece on. And we're just lining up the edges here, making sure that everything fits in line. We're not pulling it too tight and we're not leaving it too loose. And then I'm going to tuck these tabs and bring them in as well. Okay. And now that we've done this one, I believe our lid has had time to set up also. I'm going to go ahead and very carefully line these up. And you see how the glue kind of squished even there because that one's not totally dry. But you see what I mean with it getting kind of slimy? So we may need to let that dry for just a second. We'll try this side first because I think I got a little much glue on that side. Okay. There we go. Perfect. And this one. There we go. And notice as I'm doing it, I'm also kind of pinching right here along the seams to help square it up again. Because even though we scored and burnished, and we also opened it up a tiny bit, and that opening up a tiny bit can make it expand. So it's kind of weird. It doesn't really hold its exact spot very well. You have to train it, so to speak. So here we go. We're going to do this side, and I'm pinching the corner to square it up. Let me bring that in here just a bit. There we go. And then I'm going to bring this tab in, and now it looks like it's ready to take hold, and I'll square it up as well. All right, so let me just touch that and get some of that off. There we go. All right, now then, I believe we will be good. Okay. Now when we put this on, we ought to get a really nice snug fit without it stretching. So you can see there, it fits perfectly on the box. And that's what the shim does. So when you're doing your measurements here, it is making it just the hairline wider and longer than the base, just a paper thickness. And that makes all the difference to keep your box from buckling underneath the pressure of it sliding down, okay? So now we have our box. Let's see what else we can put in here. That won't fit. Will my pen fit? No, my pen's too long. I don't know if I have anything else small enough. I don't have another one of the cream savers, sadly. So I can't put that. Let's see if I can fit a Twix and a Snickers. Well, yes. If I line them up, there we go. Maybe the tails aren't going to let it. There, that works. Okay, there we go. Now then, I'm going to set that off there. Okay, I have my punch. We'll go ahead and punch our piece here. See if I can get 2 on this piece. I really want to. There we go. Okay. And now I'm going to take my Memento ink and the sponge dauber, and I'm just going to go around the edges. And this is going to soften up the piece, make it not look so straight and rigid, softening up the edges really does make your piece look a bit more finished, and it helps it just look more, you know, softer. You can see the difference already, okay, between these straight cut edges to a softer cut edge, right? So it just softens it up a little and makes it not look so rigid. I'm sure there's another word there, but my mind is winding down. It's not working. All right, here we go. And you can see I'm losing bits of my sponge dauber because my dauber is probably 10 years old and I need to replace it. So don't let your dauber get that bad. The downside of letting your dauber get that crumbly is that it can also put crumbles in your ink pad, and then you get funky stamping, and it's just not good. Don't do as I say, not as I do. All right, now then, while I've got the ink out, I'll go ahead and ink Boo. Remember, tap, 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 not smush, smush, smush. And then I want this to go closer to the left. I mean, closer to the right. Yeah, that left. Your other left. Okay, there we go. And then, as I said, I'm going to trim it down. So I knew that my piece was a bit wider. This is just one of those 1/2-inch scraps that I have laying around. You know, that's something that I have a lot of these little 1/2-inch scraps because they come off of my papers when I'm trimming up my inside layers. So there we go. Okay, and then I'm going to dovetail the center, so I'll go up the middle and there we go. Get those out of the way. Okay, now then I want to bring in my pierce mat and my take your pick tool, and I'm gonna go right about here and just poke a hole. Oh yeah, long skinny Tootsie Rolls would fit perfectly, and you know those are some of my favorite. I love Tootsie Rolls. I found today, while I was out and about with my friend Julie, I found one of those old paper penny banks. You know, the Tootsie Roll bank with the candies in it. And I got it. Oh man, I love those things. All right, let me get my hole made up here. All right, now then I've got this. I'm gonna grab my ribbon and we'll tie our bow. I like to keep it on the spool so I'm not wasting any of my ribbon. Okay, we can go up a little more here. It's going to go about like that. All right, I also need my black thread. Here it is. This is from the Baker's Twine Essentials pack. It's got all of these different colors, which is absolutely perfect for pretty much any occasion you might need the Baker's Twine. Though I admit, having done the 13 days of Halloween, I'm a little bit low on black. That's okay. After this, I'll be using mostly white and gray anyhow. Okay, now then for this one, I'm going to twist this and make a loop here. So all I'm doing is tying this into a knot and making a loop, okay? And the reason I'm making a loop is because I'm going to run the ribbon through here, and this is what's going to attach it to my ribbon, okay? So I'm going to tie that into a nice little knot, trim the ends off good, and then it's going to slide right in here. Right there, and then like this into a bow. Okay. Just like that. All right. Just like that, but I haven't even done it yet. Ha 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 ha. Okay. There we go. All right. Trim. Oop, trim. There we go. Okay. Now then, I'm going to put a little touch of liquid glue on my label, and I'm going to fold the wings of my bat. Oh my goodness. Maybe I'm starting to turn into a pumpkin. Maybe that old age is setting in and I'm starting to turn into a pumpkin at 8 o'clock. I know that we like to start eating dinner a little bit earlier than usual. Is that what it is? Am I getting old timers now? I think maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. There is a difference between Alzheimer's and old timers, for those who don't know. Old timers is when you start wanting to eat earlier and go to bed earlier and all that good stuff. I'm more than happy to have the sidewalks roll up at 7 p.m. because I'm ready for bed. Okay, so all I did was fold the wings of my bats up, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue on my paper right where I want it. Now, for me, it's easier to put the glue on the paper than it is to put it on the bats because the spot is so small. It's just easier to do it that way, okay? And then also, just like we did with the window lid, if you go ahead and put your dots on first, just these teeny tiny little dots of adhesive, then they have just a second to get tacky so that they're not slipping and sliding around. When you put your bats on, it'll help them to stick quicker, okay? Because the wonderful thing about multi-purpose liquid glue is that typically you would have several seconds to rearrange and move your items. Just like even here, I put it down early. This is the first one I put down, and yet it's still wet. But then I'm going to hold this for just a second and let the glue take hold for me. Okay. And multi-purpose liquid glue is just like that. It takes a minute to actually set up and stay. So if you want to take a minute to let it dry before you put your bats on, that's totally okay because it'll help them to set up better. All right. So there we go. I'm going to put this one on. There we go. Oh, don't go sideways. Hold on, friend. Hold on. There we go. Let's press you down a little. There we go. All right. Now, of course, the little bat's wings aren't going to stay upright. They're going to start going back down a little, but that's okay. It's okay. We want them to be extreme for now. So that way when they do fall down a little bit, they're still going to be kind of upright. Okay, then. Now I need to grab, let's see, a little bit of my dimensionals here. And I've cut some strips, as you can see, from the bottom of my mini dimensionals. So I'll do that. And then I want to put just one little mini right up here at the top, and that's going to be enough to hold my kitty on. We'll do that. And we're going to put this right at the edge, just like so. Okay, nice. And then we'll add a little bit of liquid glue to the back side of this edge of our boo, and then tuck it right here. And what I'm trying to do is kind of protect it from the edge of the eyes of the cat. so you can see through the cat's eyes, and I don't want to block the boo, and I don't want to be able to see any space here, so I'm just kind of tucking it so that it lines up with the edge of the cat there, and I think that's pretty good. All right, now then I'm going to grab my rhinestone basic jewels and my take your pick tool, my favorite tool ever, and I'm going to put one dimension or one little rhinestone here. I'm going to put one up here, and then I'm going to put one more on the tag right about there. Okay, there we go. All right, there we have it, friends. I hope you guys really like this little treat. It's super cute, lots of fun. Of course, you can make these for any size or any occasion, just like I had mentioned. Remember, it's very simple to make these boxes. You're just taking the length and the width and the height of your particular item, whatever it may be, and then adding that amount, the height, to each end of the length and the width. Okay, so very simple to do, very easy, very cute, and you could certainly do these and stick these in a little stocking stuffer for Christmas time decoration, or set these on a coworker's desk or a classmate's desk or in a locker in somebody's bag. This little candy would just slip right down into somebody's bag. So anyway, you can do lots of little fun things with this. All right, friends, I hope you guys have liked this project. I showed you yesterday all of the different projects for the 10 other days of Halloween treats. This is day 11, and I will be back here again tomorrow night for day 12 of the 13 days of Halloween treats. Folks, we are almost finished. We have 2 more days left to go, and I can't wait to share those projects with you. And I hope that you guys have been enjoying these as much as I have been enjoying bringing them to you. Remember, you can visit my website, thestampinchick.com, thestampinchick.com, and find the measurements as well as the supply list of things that I used today. And you can go over to shop on Stampin' Up! At danasullivan.stampinup.net and use this host code and get a free gift from me with a qualifying order. So until next time, my friends, I hope that you have a wonderful evening, and I hope that I will see you again tomorrow right here for day 12 of the 13 days of Halloween treats. I hope you have a wonderful night. Bye for now.